Win number 8 in the books for Ohio State. It is a road victory at Camp Randall Stadium over the Wisconsin Badgers, 24-10. Welcome to Snap Judgments. They are brought to you by Byers Auto. I am Austin Ward, and that is Jeremy Birmingham and the banged-up Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Win again.
You want to focus on injuries first. I think maybe it's important. Certainly,
it puts the whole performance in context for me. But
it sure does add some flavor to it. It looked like a team that was ready to go physically, and then a really cold night, kind of a hard playing surface. You saw a number of times guys get knocked to the ground and get up feeling a little sore. Julian Fleming, even Marvin Harrison on his remarkable touchdown catch got up a little gimpy on the back. It's not a really forgiving field. The biggest concern, I think, injury-wise, we'll just dive right into it, has to be that of Lathan Ransom. When you see a non-contact limp happening, especially ankle-wise, the first thought you get is Achilles, and I don't know if it's going to be that serious or not, but certainly did not look good post-game, so that is a major concern for Ohio State. But it did open up a door, I think, for Jordan Hancock to prove once again his versatility. He ended up going back and playing that spot with the return of Denzel Burke. I mean, you're already short Jihad Carter at safety, and Buckeyes were playing some extra guys today, doing a little bit of dime stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because if that injury for Lathan Ransom is a serious long-term one, that's a big blow for a team who has been playing as good as anybody in the country defensively.
That's the big one for a guy who got knocked out. It did allow us to see, we've talked a number of times in the last month or so, is there an opportunity for Ohio State to play Sonny Styles and Jordan Hancock together, and that did happen tonight. They were doing that some in the first half, even before Lathan Ransom. He checked himself out of the game. He went to the sideline, went to the tent. They brought a card out for him, and then right back here as he headed to the locker room, they put him in a wheelchair. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, he came back. He taped up his foot, came back, put the shoe back on, and came back out to the field so he could watch the end of the game with his teammates. Walking off the field, he was still pretty gimpy. I asked him, I said, did you twist it? He said, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those ones that you're going to watch. And really, getting out of here tonight for Ohio State with a 24-10 win is huge for a number of reasons. You're not going to look past Rutgers or Michigan State or Minnesota, but this was mile marker number 3 on a 4-mile race of this season. The 4th mile marker is a month from now. So now you've got to figure out exactly how to get to that point healthy.
All right, so that was a guy who left out. Emeka Egbuka also did not play, but he didn't start the game either. So we'll leave that out of the conversation. But the guys who came back in, Denzel Burke and Trayon Henderson, 2 really good buddies. Both get cleared to go, and both made a massive impact for Ohio State, mostly Trayon Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, we have had a lot of discussion about Trayon and like his place in the big board of running backs nationally. Is Ohio State a better offense without him on the field? Nope, they're not. Sorry.
Pretty clear proof tonight,
there's
right?
a lot of... We've seen a couple times this year, we're like, maybe the things move a little smoother this with Chip in there. When Trayon Henderson, who's the best running back on the team, is healthy and his legs look super fresh tonight, like the running game is different because he has an ability to turn a 4-yard run into a 10-yard run like that. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to turn a 4-yard run into a -1-yard run, because he still does that every once in a while. But nobody had more negative rushing plays in NFL history than Barry Sanders, okay? So I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Because you have a guy that can pop one for 33 anytime he touches the ball, which is what he did on his game-sealing touchdown. So, but it's not just the running game. Trayon helps Kyle McCord in the passing game so much, and he's just a different type of player. When you get him out here, you can see where this offense could go if you get a healthy Emeka Egbuka. Whatever, Cade Stover was not himself tonight, did not even get targeted. So he was out there, I think, just as a decoy, just to say we're not going to take him off the field because you're going to block a little bit and you're going to need him to chip. So we don't know exactly what's going on there. But this is a team that is banged up, but it's heading into November 8-0. And I was thinking about what I was going to say on Snap Judgments throughout the second quarter or third quarter, and my entire sort of perspective shifted, I guess, once we got to the fourth quarter, and like, it's freaking cold out here. Great crowd, good energy. Kyle McCord obviously did not play very well in the first half. He completed 13 of his last 15 passes after he threw the second interception, which Ryan Day took off of his shoulders and said, I understand that one. The first one
didn't take that one off
squarely on his shoulders for the first one. But, it's another instance where McCord bounces back and plays a much better game. And he did it with some physical toughness as well. He couldn't even put pressure on his left foot after he picked up the 3rd and 3 scramble that he ran for 8 yards. Like, it's a tough spot to play, and it's a 14-point win. Just keep thinking this is 2002, man. If this is
that team wasn't even winning by 14. Were they?
No, they won here that year. I think it was 20-13. So it has a lot of the same vibe to it.
And I understand that there are going to be Ohio State fans frustrated with this effort in the first half from Kyle McCord, and trust me, I totally get it. Ryan Day himself talked about there being a lingering sense of frustration for Ohio State on offense, that they have not played a complete game. And we can point to the injuries if we want for an excuse for that. We can, talk about Wisconsin playing a different coverage on the second interception for Kyle McCord, and Ryan Day taking some of the blame for that, or at least saying that Kyle McCord was not to blame. They are not playing at the level that they have offensively from the last couple years. There were missed throws. There were also some really freaking good ones from Kyle McCord, and I think that's what makes it hard to, properly evaluate or give a clear thumbs up or a clear thumbs down to a performance like that, because he was also really tough. On the play where he re-aggravated the ankle injury, or when I think that he did, it was on a scramble that had to be done to get a first down and a dive forward. He was not the same guy after that. He went and got on the exercise bike. Tristan Gebbia warmed up for a bit. Going into the fourth quarter, they had a little bit of a break. Ryan Day had to be thinking, do I need a different quarterback to get to the finish line? And Kyle McCord made that very clear. No, he's going back out there. And he made enough plays, as you said, Berm, 13 out of 15, some throws down the stretch. Trayon busting the big one from the 33 to going into this end zone down here was obviously massive. But, I think it's just whatever you want to see out of it with Kyle McCord at this point, you can. This is start number 9. This is 8 for the year. And if people say, well, this is enough now, he's played it, he should be taking the next step. Understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair conversation, but it's also a pretty damn tough environment to play a football game. And I think Ryan Day understands. I didn't mean to just cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Like, Ryan Day understands that his quarterback needs a couple good things to happen early in the game. He said that the drop touchdown pass by Trayon Henderson was like a puncture to the heart. I mean, that's pretty serious because Kyle McCord needs that ball to be caught. And I think one of the things that we saw with C.J. Stroud, with Justin Fields, those guys felt like I can throw it anywhere I want and people are going to make the play. What Kyle McCord has not done a great job of so far, at least consistently, is giving his receivers a chance to make a play. There were a couple incompletions in that first half where he threw the ball to Marvin Harrison, where Marv's open enough where if the ball is catchable, Marv probably gets it, but it's thrown over his head or thrown inside. The Julian Fleming deep shot, it's similar to a week ago where he had Cardinal Tate down the seam. If he puts that out in front of him, it's probably a huge touchdown.
You and Bill disagree with me. That ball was thrown 50 yards into the air in between two guys in coverage, and it hit Julian Fleming in the stomach.
It's got to be caught.
I don't think it was a bad throw. It was a long throw, and it was put relatively in stride. That's my opinion on it.
Well, it should be caught.
And that drive would have looked very different with that catch or with Trayon Henderson. Like, the interception would not have happened.
Yeah.
So, again, that's one of those, where is it? It's right here in the middle, because you can make a case either way, and we can argue over it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They have to make more plays on offense at the end of November or in the first weekend in December or in January. That's the reality of the situation. But you don't have to make a ton if they never give up more than 10 points.
Yeah, the defense is really good. And again, to come out here tonight, Wisconsin did not seem to really know what they wanted to do offensively. I think that there was a plan to get Braylon Allen really involved in the first half, and then he just couldn't get going. And then he gets hurt. They ran the ball a lot better in the second half when Braylon Allen was off the field, because I think Ohio State at that point was like, okay, they're just going to drop back and throw the ball. They had their fullback or whatever back there who was a big kid, tough to bring down. Braden Locke played a nice game for Wisconsin. Tough, I think there's some really good young quarterbacks developing around the Big Ten. Watching on Saturday, watching Northwestern, watching Indiana, watching Braden Locke tonight, the league is pretty good, and Luke Fickell's team deserves some credit for coming out here and making it difficult for the Buckeyes. This was not a game where they took a lot of risks and gave Ohio State big opportunities to hit home runs. So it's not pretty, but like it's 24-10 on the road at Wisconsin. The last 2 times they played here went to overtime. So this is a marked improvement.
Well, if you do this 15 times in a row, they give you a trophy.
Yeah, you win a national championship. And that's what I'm saying. If you think about this year in the context of Ryan Day's offense the last 5 years, it's going to feel
different.
Yeah. And but it should feel different because this is, think about 2019's defense with, this is what it is. And it may not have Chase Young or Jeff Okuda or Jordan Fuller, but these are some damn good defensive players. Jack Sawyer has elevated his game in a major way. Steel Chambers on the second play of the game, forcing a fumble when Wisconsin had a little momentum early because of the 4th down stop against Ohio State. And then you see what Denzel Burke brings back. I don't know what the fans in here. I understand fans see whatever they want that serves their purpose. But like the receiver on the 3rd and 8 throw who had his hand in Denzel Burke's face the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was walking off the field with Denzel. I was like, I don't know why they're so mad. He's like, it was hand fighting the whole way. Like
it was fair play. They're both doing it.
This defense is good, man. And we watched, and folks will see it on the notebook tomorrow morning. Like a lot of guys pretty gimpy getting out of here tonight. And it feels like a little bit like the Notre Dame game when people are just like beat up. But you're going to get an opportunity to go home and rest, and you get to do that as a winner. And that, you mentioned it on the notebook, but the spread was 14. Vegas kind of had a beat on this, I think.
Yeah, they got it right, and that's why Ohio State wasn't complaining, that they were still celebrating very boisterously in the locker room next to the post-game press conference. They know that it's hard to win games in the Big Ten as well, but the other part is that if you just win them all, that's the ultimate goal. And they took another step closer to that as they finish up October. They're 8-0. They came to Camp Randall. They win 24-10. On the road again next week, they go to Rutgers. So not a ton of time to get rest and recuperated. This is a sneaky Scarlet Knights team that has been giving people some fits. And Greg Schiano, is always cooking up crazy special team stuff and gadget plays and exotic blitzes to try and frustrate Ohio State. So that looms next week, early kick, sleepy Piscataway, noon. But we don't have to talk about that yet because we will a ton on the podcast moving forward as we put a bow on this one. On Snap Judgments, they're brought to you by Byers Auto. 24-10, the Buckeyes are a winner. They're 8-0. They head to November in championship contention, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Heisman Trophy. He should be the favorite at this point.
Boy, he's good, man.
We'll have that conversation a little bit later on. But he's Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. Thanks for joining us on Snap Judgments. We'll talk to you later.